In early 2017, I had hit a creative rut. I had ideas, but I did not have the skills to execute them the way I wanted to. I have always been drawn to figurative art. My biggest influences did figurative art, Ernie Barnes being one of them. My family and Ernie Barnes are both from Durham, North Carolina, so I was very familiar with him growing up. I was really not only just drawn to his work, I had a lot of access to seeing it. What really stood out to me was the elongated figures that he painted. That didn't strike you as unusual when you would see his work. What you saw was motion, and that's what he wanted to depict. He wanted to depict bodies in motion, so you didn't just see people dancing in a club, you felt that motion when you saw the image. And I loved how he took something very basic and straightforward in life, did something special to it to create a different emotion and let you see something deeper in the picture than just a static image. I want to have the same kind of impact in my work. I've always wanted to do figurative work, but I've struggled with it. When I've tried, it just seemed flat or cartoonish, which nothing's wrong with that, but I didn't even feel like I was doing that very well. So I kind of abandoned it and worked on developing kind of the basic elements of what I later termed hieroglyph, which were colors and blocking and markings and that sort of approach to painting. So back to 2017, early 2017, I was struggling to really get ideas out on canvas. I was working on this one big piece. I felt like if I worked on something big and powerful, it would get me out of that rut. It was not going very well. I was trying to illustrate the impact of words and language as a weapon. It was not working. I didn't like it at all. I kept pushing, kept adding elements, and nothing seemed to just resonate. So I decided I would just paint it over and do something else, but I couldn't think of something else that I could represent using my current style, my current skill set. I needed to push beyond what I could do. I needed to make that commitment. And so I painted over that trash of a painting, and that painting eventually became Sally. And it's one of my favorite pieces. It was a major inflection point for me. It proved to me that I could create something and get some ideas out in a different manner than I had before. I didn't do any of my traditional hieroglyph markings on that piece. That was intentional. I wanted it to stand out on its own as something different. From 2017 until early in 2020, I gradually added new techniques and skills to my style. I dove into doing some self-portraits, putting myself in different positions to express certain emotions, and I was really happy with the results I was getting. It wasn't perfect, but it was getting better. At that point in time, I also decided to switch from acrylics to oil painting. Acrylics just dried too fast for my pace, and I thought switching to oils would be a better alternative than adding retardants to acrylic paint. Another key change I made was to get a dedicated space for painting. At the time, I had tried to just use a room that was a TV room in the basement, and I would set up an easel, paint, I would break it down, and it just became a struggle to really work. The lighting wasn't very good. So I took a room in our basement that we really just used for storage. Over time, I added more lighting and it just was perfect. It's a great space now. I've added a digital workstation as I do more video. I was very fortunate to be able to do this, and it made a big difference in my productivity and the quality of my work. I think my progress over the past few years really became evident with my last 3 paintings. Damn Baby, Hot Viral Summer, It's a Lot. I was really impressed with what I was able to produce. Not necessarily the technical execution, but I was able to control the paintbrush and the paint to make changes and evolve the works as I wanted them to evolve. I've taken the past couple of months to hone a new skill to add to what I've already developed. I really love to use color to create emotion, and I want to be able to do so in my paintings without the typical constraints that come with trying to depict the real world. I wanted to develop something that was reminiscent of Fauvism, using shadow and light, color values rather than actual color hues to create the depth and shape of the figures. It's probably one of the most common pieces of advice you get when you're trying to accomplish anything, and that is to learn and educate yourself and then practice and practice again until you get better. That is the only way to develop a skill. Yet somehow I had convinced myself this was a skill I was never going to be able to develop. It was beyond my reach. These 3 canvases will be the first paintings that I create and kind of put out there to the public with this new style. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I have the confidence that I will be able to work with the brush and the paint and all of the skills I developed over the past few years to create what I want. And that's the joy, one of the big joys of creating art, to be able to have a vision and then execute on that vision the way you want to. I'm Zuri Standback, and thanks for watching. Bye.